Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new day of Road to TCG Worlds 2019. Thank you so much for being here, guys. I really appreciate it. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to leave a like. It really helps out the channel. And if you're live with me on Twitch, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. So we are now going to take a look at 3 of the top 4 expanded decks from last weekend's regional from Portland. Some very interesting decks. 2 surprises, which I guess were Blastoise and Primal Groudon. When trying out Blastoise, I felt it was a bit underwhelming, but it got all the way to top 4, and I feel like had a really good matchup against this ZOROARK control deck, which was what ultimately ended up winning the event. So it kind of makes sense. So Jimmy Pendervis won. Huge congratulations to Jimmy. Really cool guy, really funny guy. And last season he made, he got so many top 8s, but then he wasn't able to win a tournament. And so I was very happy to hear that he ended up winning the whole thing. With this very interesting and very probably not fun to play against ZOROARK SEISMITOAD deck. So we have SEISMITOAD as the main focus of the deck. SEISMITOAD EX, a card that was printed a long time ago from the Black and White series. 180 HP, and then the attack Quaking Punch. You deal 30 damage, and your opponent can't play any item cards from his or her hand during their next turn. And realgames.ca, you got your peanut butter M&Ms. Thank you so much. Horrorbind, I won the League Cup. Actually, I won the League Cup with Malamar, which was pretty cool. That made me pretty happy. Finally won a League Cup this quarter. But yeah, guys, as I was saying, Quaking Punch deals 30 damage, and then your opponent can't play any item cards during their turn. Grenade Hammer does 130 damage, but the deck runs no water energy, so this attack is not ever going to be used. And then 3 Great Gust and Grass Weakness, which is not a big deal in Expanded. So the item lock means that a bunch of cards from your opponent's deck are no longer useful, right? No longer useful. And then we have ZOROARK GX with its ability Trade, which does allow you to keep finding other resources to annoy your opponent, right? You discard a card, you draw 2 cards, and so which resources are these? Well, they are a whole bunch of these. We have Plumeria in order to discard cards and discard energy from your opponent. We have Karen to reshuffle their Pokemon back into their deck. We have Team Skullgrunt to discard energy from hand. We have Team Rocket Handiwork to discard cards from the top of your opponent's deck. And then that's pretty much it, right? We have Plumeria to recycle all of these cards. You also have Verse Seeker. We have triple Enhanced Hammer as well to get rid of all of our opponent's energy eventually. And then we have a Counter Catcher as well to mess with what is active and trap something up there. This is not a perfect lock because Quaking Punch does deal damage, and therefore White Snake, thank you so much. Thank you so much for choosing to renew your subscription. That's 11 months. Next month you get the purple Tablemon. The elusive purple Tablemon. So yeah, guys, a lot of disruption. I'm surprised there's no delinquent in this, especially with Lusamine to recycle the stadiums, but I guess they were more focused on locking an opponents out of energy rather than dealing a bunch of damage and attacking that way, because Saito does only deal 30 damage, right? 40 with a Fighting Fury belt. Now the supporting cast includes Oranguru with resource management. There's no more Portal of Time, so you basically need Oranguru to reuse a lot of these resources. You have Sudowoodo to block opponents' ZOROARKs. We have Execute to be able to propagate trade infinitely, pretty much. And then we have Triple Tapu for consistency purposes. And finally, we have the Tier 2 guy. Now, with its ability Prehistoric Call, once during your turn before attack, if this Pokemon is in your discard pile, you may put this Pokemon on the bottom of your deck. So if you're playing against Wailord or something like that, you draw that card as the last card in your deck, then you use Trade, you discard it, and then it goes back. It goes back into a deck, so basically you can never deck yourself out. 100% you can never deck yourself out. So you pretty much always, or almost always beat things like Wailord, maybe even Sylveon. And it's also an ability that is not shut off by Alolan Muk, so the Turtua can be recycled over and over in order to trade infinitely. Yeah. Horrorblind. The list that I used was the first place list from Memphis. Yeah, so you can check it out on Limitless. I didn't make any changes from that. And so supporters wise, we already talked a little bit about the disruption. Consistency wise, we have one bridge and one fan club. Fan club is necessary because it searches out SEISMITOAD EX. Cold Rest to draw a bunch of cards. Gladiant to make sure we don't prize the card that we need, such as Karen in Night March, or such as Team Rocket's Handiwork. In any mill matchups or in any matchup, basically, we have Iserola to heal, we have N to disrupt our opponent's hand, we have Sycamore to draw cards, we have the Kuzma to make sure that we can target the right Pokemon or trap the right Pokemon in the active spot. Double Fighting Fury Belt, a single Floatstone, 4 DCs, and then the stadiums are super interesting. A single Rough Seas, which is basically a counter to Trevenant, as long as you have SEISMITOAD active. And with the Rough Seas, not only are you infinitely countering their dimension valleys thanks to Lusamine, but you're also healing the spread damage that they deal. So as long as you don't overbench and give them a bunch of targets, SEISMITOAD can never be knocked out pretty much before it knocks out Trevenant. And then finally we have the single Parallel City, where even sometimes reducing SEISMITOAD's damage output can be important, as that means that you are trapping something in the active spot for more turns than usual. Yeah, so all of that comes into play. All of that is pretty important. And so finally we have Dowsing Machine as the A spec of choice. We also, since there's no puzzle, Dowsing Machine is kind of like a bad puzzle time. You get to recycle a trainer card and play it again. We have Battle Compressor to send the deck, we have Field Blowers to counter Carboner, have a Rescue Stretcher to recycle whatever we might need, and Portal Trolls for consistency purposes. So I feel like this deck, its true potential is better showcased in the ladder. I definitely have not played enough games with this deck to say that this is going to be a clean, no misplay stream. So I apologize in advance for the probable misplays that I will be making, but this deck is super complex. It's super it has so many different options every single turn that choosing the optimal one every time will not be as easy. And I believe we might be up against Blastoise or SEISMITOAD card, one of the two. Yeah, it might actually be Blastoise, but with no colorless, it means it doesn't have Shaman, so it's probably not Blastoise actually. So many single copy cards. Expanded continues to give you headaches. Yeah, Expanded is definitely a complicated set. Oh, this is actually Greninja. So Greninja is probably a match that is a bad one, I'd assume. Probably a bad matchup. We'll have to see though. We shall see. I think targeting down Starmie, we might be able to get some sort of luck going against Greninja. Okay, so I'm gonna Brooklet. I do believe that, I can get SEISMITOAD off the Brooklet, which is pretty cool. But I do think that using Bridget on turn 1 would be ideal. We don't have Bridget, but we can Fan Club. Or I could Colress, probably not gonna Colress. I could N, probably not gonna N. I wish I had a DCE and a Floatstone, that would be the dream. Ultra Ball away. The team's Gold Grunt and the Oranguru for now. And I'm gonna grab Lily and I'm gonna grab a Fan Club. Should I though? Yeah, let's grab a Fan Club. I do wanna fully set up, right? What did I win? I won a League Cup on Saturday. Finally won my first League Cup this season. Finally won a League Cup this season. And I think I do Field Blower, right? So that he can't Brooklet Heal for another Froakie. You want a challenge? Congratulations, Fiorabas. Hola, Noé. Henry, thanks so much for the congrats. And Velasco Luis, what team am I a part of? Team Tablemon. Right now I don't have any team, so I'm Team Tablemon, I'm Team Mexico. But I'm not representing any team so far. I'm not representing any team right now. Okay, so we see a dive ball. There's this Starmie. We see a Colress. Okay, I definitely need to take down that Starmie at some point. Yeah. There are plenty of good Mexican players. Yeah, there are plenty of good Mexican players. You don't hear about them because they don't travel often. Yeah. But there are plenty Mexican players out there. I'll get rid of the Karen. Okay, so I will Colress here for 9. Hopefully that will get me a DC, a ZOROARK, and I was hoping an Enhanced Hammer, or Parallel City would actually be pretty sweet here. So first off, I'm gonna Propagate. And I honestly don't know what's priced, so I'm gonna get rid of the Lusamine in case I have a turn where I need to use a Caladion. It might be, I mean, there's one ZOROARK GX price, there's no DCE priced. Parallel isn't priced, there's no Enhanced Hammer priced, so okay. Sudowoodo would also be pretty good in this spot. We're definitely gonna get a KO, which is nice. It will also probably be our only turn of abilities, right? Which is not ideal, but there's nothing we can do about it. What's it your Taruga for? So that you never deck yourself out, right? With its ability, you put it back into the deck continually, so you can never deck yourself out. It's also it's a Pokemon that you can. It's like a free card that is never turned off by Alolan Mach, right? So it's like an execute that doesn't get turned off by Alolan Mach, which is also interesting. Yeah. Okay, so we knock out that Frogadier. Not how we wanted to do it, but it's okay. So it would have been nice because then he wouldn't be able to immediately evolve into the Frogadier. Parallel City would have been even better because then he wouldn't have the Starmie. I'm pretty sure this has to be a bad matchup for the deck, right? This has to be a bad matchup for the deck. Greninja is always a bad matchup for ZOROARK, no matter what you do. A lot depends on my opponent's Enhanced Hammer counts, right? If he doesn't play any, then we might have a shot, especially with Acerolas. If he does play those, then we are in a little bit of trouble. And there's the energy, and we're gonna see the start of the Shadow Stitching. So we're not playing Skyfield, so we actually can't do much about this. What I can do though is Colress to get another 9 cards, and I generally, okay, I've already discarded a Lusamine. I'll just Colress. I do want to find Sudowoodo, I think, at least a parallel. Well, I wanted either or, and I didn't get either or, so I'm gonna go Righteous Speeding only for 100 damage. That does mean the Greninja can be knocked out by Seismitoad. Not that one though. That one we can't KO. We're gonna see a Stretcher. I mean, maybe him having the Froakie there is good. Well, not until we actually knock out the Starmie though. He did use one Risky Stretcher already, which is good. Right? Is he gonna target down? No. He's gonna go after the energy, which I think makes sense. And, oh my gosh, back-to-back ends. So we're gonna lose the Guzma and the DC that we already had. We do find the Acerola, which is nice, and an Enhanced Hammer, which is also pretty good. And we're gonna see the second Giant Water Shuriken now decides to take down the Zoroark, which is never ideal. It does prevent counter catcher plays, which is good. I did find the Kuzma, but I don't have another DC. I also have another Verse Seeker for Colress, which is good. And we see the Shadow Stitching. So, okay, so I'm definitely using this. Yeah, my opponent's too fully set up for me to use Quaking Punch, I think. Why don't I just Hex, right? Why don't I just Hex? That would be pretty nice. That would indeed be pretty nice. Okay, so I'm gonna Acerola. I think I'm gonna have to Stretcher here. It feels bad though. Using Stretch because then I don't have Oranguru anymore. Oranguru could be useful. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and write GSPD. Okay. This weekend you dealing with it, someone playing Archie's Blastoise to 0 and they top decked Archie's. Oh my gosh. That's pretty unlucky. Okay, so there's the first Enhanced Hammer. You're gonna see a Giant Water Shuriken onto the Zoroark. So now I'm gonna risk a Stretcher back 2 Zoras and Oranguru, and then I'm gonna Colress for 8. That's the plan for this turn at least. We're gonna see another Giant Water Shuriken, this time onto the active. You didn't notice a single Pokemon Ranger in any of the lists you saw from Portland. Yeah, that's true. I feel like no one expected Seismitoad to be that big, and that's why you wouldn't play Pokemon Ranger. There's the Stormy, getting back the energy. We're gonna see a Shadow Stitching. And now I do have the option to Acerola, but that seems pretty pointless. So yeah, I'm pretty sure we're gonna lose this one. This has to be a really bad matchup for the deck. A really bad matchup for the deck. What would this deck do against Mismagius Garb? It would try to beat them with the luck. It would try to beat them by being more consistent. And that's pretty much it, I think. Yeah, even if you lose, like, now the question is how many people played Mismagius Garb this past weekend in Portland? And the answer is 0 people. So if you lose to a non-existent deck, it doesn't matter, right? So those arguments of, like, what would this do against Urkitree? It also loses, yeah? But that's not an argument not to play a deck. That is never an argument not to play a deck. Okay, so... Didn't I discard the tier 2 already? What? Okay, so I haven't been able to find... Yeah, I don't think I can win this one. Can't draw what I need. Probably not gonna use this. And sure, I get a knockout here. You know for a fact someone played Mismagius and Garb at Portland. Okay, so one Portland. One deck. Yeah? Listen, I'm not gonna get into this argument of hypotheticals. I was just giving an example, Brothmate, about how silly it is to give arguments like that. to say this X deck beats this other deck. That's what I was getting to. Yeah, and all the people who played counters to this deck, there are other decks other than this one, and they lost to those other decks. There was no way that they would play against 15 ZOROARK decks all the way until the final, so... because other decks exist. Like, what does Garbodor Mismagius do against Blastoise? It completely loses immediately, right? So, you can't give those arguments as, oh, this deck loses to that, or this deck loses to this other thing. You know, they're pointless, because Pokemon is not a game of rock, paper, scissors. It goes way beyond that. It's not X card beats X deck. It doesn't work like that. I can't lose them in Chain Plumeria to remove their energy when they have Starmie to recycle their energy every time. I need to KO Starmie and then do that, but with the hands that I got, it was impossible. Okay, so let's just find another match. Greninja and Blastoise are probably bad matches for this deck. Yeah, Mismagius Garb is a bad matchup as well. If you want me to say that, I'll say it. But when one person out of 500 people is playing Mismagius Garb, you take those chances. Yeah, and where was the Mismagius Garb player? Didn't make day 2, right? So, like, those type of arguments are very silly. Okay. Definitely gonna start the Toad. And remember, a Zurkitree with a Muscle Band would give this deck fits for sure. Without Muscle Band, then yeah, Iserola Loop with Oranguru means you never lose. Unless they play Energy Removal, right? So, see what I'm getting at? Like, oh my gosh, another Greninja? Are you serious? Are you actually serious? Another Greninja? I kinda want a Sycamore here. I kinda want a Sycamore. There's a DCU priced, so that's Summary to Gladion this turn. Nah. I think getting a lock going is potentially a lot more powerful. Because it also protects my DCEs. Also protects my DCs. We'll get rid of the Tortuga. We'll get rid of the Bridget and the Karen. And then we'll pass. And yeah, every deck loses to Seeking. And we all have, all Pokemon players have a pact not to use Seeking, right? So, that's a moot point. What does Tortuga do again? Its ability, if it's in the discard pile, you can send it back to... You can send it back to the bottom of the deck. So you can never deck yourself out. Yeah, you literally never deck out. Okay, Shrine, annoying card to deal with for sure, but we do have Lusamine loops. Oh my gosh, here comes the bubble heads flip, which is gonna be very annoying. Knowing how Portland went down, if you could back in time and enter the tournament, what deck would you play? Maybe Turbo Dark? Maybe Turbo Dark. Maybe Glacian? Hello Patrick. Hello Amphi. Okay, so we did get paralyzed. Oh my gosh, we did get paralyzed. We did indeed get paralyzed, and wow, live dew as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of these two cards. No need to give them to my opponent, essentially for free. And then we'll pass. And then we shall pass. Okay. Why not Lele for Zerola into other Toad? Because I don't have a Lele. I did have the Versus Seeker to reuse a Zerola. That could have been a good option. I valued getting more ZOROARKs down. Because if I only have one ZOROARK, then maybe he's not as pressured to using Shadow Stitching every turn. But with 3 of them down, definitely that's the play. It was this deck, Dylan. ZOROARK, SEISMITOAD ZOROARK is what won the tournament. SEISMITOAD ZOROARK is what won the tournament. Yeah, Zerola would have been a good option. Zerola would have been a good option for sure. Let's go ahead and propagate. And then let's go ahead and set up ZOROARK. Does it play Virbank and lasers? No, it does not. It does not. Okay, this might be our last turn, our only turn of trading. So I need a really good trade here. It's not a good trade. I'll hold on to this and then we shall Quacking Punch. This means no dive balls, no ultra balls. Which is kind of good news. Ivan's hand is huge though, so there's no way he whiffs the Greninja. The Enhanced Hammer was pretty big though. Hopefully. And the White Snake, thank you so much for the bits. Very, very kind of you. Didn't get a notification for that for some reason. Okay, there's the Water Energy. There's a Greninja. And Dylan, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the 150 bits. Very, very kind of you. Very kind to both of you. Really appreciate it. Okay. So my opponent did go for the thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and lose for N plus a Zerola. I feel are good options. And then I'll bench another Zorua. I will go ahead and Quacking Punch. What's this music? Oh, I had no idea. That was still in there. And Furiga, thank you so much for the follow. You're going to a Standard Cup this weekend. What do you think is the best play for you to win with? Gascan, I agree. That's what I won with this past weekend. It feels like a very solid deck. You know? Okay, so my opponent decides to bring up a Zorua, which is a weird decision. I kind of feel like countering that with my own Guzma into a Frogadier, because if he doesn't have the Greninja immediately, then we will be able to get another turn of trade, which is good. Maclid. Yeah, this deck does look familiar, doesn't it? Okay. So lose an energy, I'm fine with that. We're gonna see a Shadow Stitching. And then... I mean, now I definitely don't want to end. I could try the Guzma again. Onto a different Frogadier. Because at worst, like, it makes my opponent lose another energy, which is good. And here, I'm gonna trick my opponent. I'm not gonna play the Fighting Fury Belt so that he feels that that Frogadier might survive another turn, and then I'll go Fighting Fury Belt, boom. Yeah. Does Zoro just crush Gaskin? No, Dylan. You should check out my you should search for YouTube Pablo Mesa, Caleb Gedimer, Memphis Regional, and see how me playing Zork lost to Gaskin thanks to the Chimeco. Gaskin doesn't crush Zork though. If you play it right, Gaskin definitely doesn't crush Zork. It's actually a pretty even matchup. Yeah. And if you watch the match, Caleb honestly drew pretty hot in the 2 games he won. But neither Gaskin gets crushed by Zoro nor Gaskin crushes Zoro. It's actually a pretty even matchup. Kevin Nonofia Portland. And hello Jedi, thanks so much for being here. Okay. So the stadium is super annoying here. Stadium is definitely very annoying. I'll keep the DC. I mean, I have knockout on the Greninja, right? But that frees him of item cards. So I'll do N for now. Yeah. I'll do N for now. I'll evolve into this guy. And then I have Lusamine, but I don't have stadiums yet. I haven't been able to find a stadium. Yeah, I'll protect my Zorua. Even if I get more damage counters, that's fine. Like a few turns of Shrine is not a big deal. And Dylan, thank you so much for the bits. Last question, how does Buzz Shrine compare against the meta? Buzz Shrine, like, it started doing so well because people were unprepared for it. Buzz Shrine has a terrible Gaskan matchup, has a terrible Rayquaza matchup if they're playing the right amount of counters, and even ZOROARK is sketchy if they're playing weakness policy. Yeah. Malamar most of the time beats ZOROARK decks. I disagree with that, Amphi. I actually disagree with that statement. Okay, I actually wouldn't mind Rough Seas here. Oh, come on, or any stadium. Jeez. Okay, I'm actually... Okay, I only have Rough Seas. Oh wow, I have 9 cards left. What? Okay. I'll definitely just discard the Rough Seas and then I'll Quaking Punch again. And next turn I can Lusamine and actually heal my friends. My water friends. That's a lot of damage though. It's a lot of damage. So yeah, I would say the matchups are 50-50. I wouldn't say Malamar most of the time beats ZOROARK decks. I definitely disagree with that. It all depends on the text of ZOROARK. If ZOROARK is playing Sudowoodo and or Deoxys, it's actually back to being very favored against Malamar. Does my opponent have a basic water energy in his hand? Probably does. He does. Is he gonna go, I'll take 4 prizes this turn if I promote this guy? No, he actually chooses to damage the benched one. Okay. I am fine with that. I am honestly fine with that. This is gonna, like, they're having the Rough Seas means... Oh, he goes for Moonlight Slash. Well, yeah, I guess trade doesn't matter anymore. How long until Lost Thunder is live in game? Thursday. Thursday we'll be having a super long stream. Yeah, Thursday will be a super long stream. Okay, Gladion will give me my Paralysis CD as well, which could be important. I've been taking 30 seconds to decide on whether he wanted to keep the energy or not. Enhanced Hammer is kind of important. I feel like keeping the lock is more important. I mean, I need to Acerola the Seismitoad, right? Rather than heal it, I need to Acerola the Seismitoad. Ideally. The Stretcher is a nice top deck. Yeah. So, no removing Stadium this turn. And I can't get a KO, but... Oh, the Acerola's in the deck? What? Oh, geez. El Frank, thank you so much. 6 months in a row. Thank you so much. Welcome to the Blue Tablemon team. Oh my gosh, that Verse Seeker was actually very silly. Oops. Oopsie daisies. I don't want that. Okay, that was very silly. That was actually very silly. So I need Acerola to not be in the bottom 2 cards of my deck, please. Okay, the Enhanced Hammer is nice. What won Portland? This deck. This deck won Portland. Seismitoad ZOROARK. Come on, Acerola, don't be like this. Don't be like this. Don't be like this, Acerola. I needed to not be in the bottom 2 cards. Jeez. Oh my gosh. I needed it not to be in the bottom 2 cards. Tier 2 to prevent deck out indeed. So you see, my deck is 0 cards and I use Prehistoric Call. Goes back into the deck. And then I can finally go Acerola. So it turns out discarding the Stadium was actually a bad call. Great. Quacking Punch. I mean, I think my plan now is to eliminate all of my opponent's energy, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 energy so far. The damage on my bench is not too much, unless my opponent is playing Espioniex, which would be pretty tragic. We're gonna see a Sycamore. I wanna see what he ends up discarding. Stretcher, Evil Soda, Dive Ball, and Blower. And that's it. There's a second Greninja Break. Goes out into that one and passes. Okay, that's good. So here's what I'm questioning. Can I use trade? Apparently I can. I can trade this guy, right? And then that prevents the deck out, correct? Yeah, that prevents the deck out. Okay, so we have that part covered. And then do you want to Plumeria this turn? No, I feel like I should lose. I mean, it's just having the Rough Seas is so silly. I need... Oh, you know what? I need Gladion. That's what I need. That is what I'll do. I will Gladion this turn. Get my Pearl CD out of the prize cards. Right? Yeah. I will get the Parallel CD. Yeah. Okay. Took me a while. And then I will discard a ZOROARK. I definitely don't need 3 ZOROARKs, right? Definitely don't need 3 ZOROARKs. And then... should I KO this Greninja Break? I feel like I should maybe... yeah. Nah. Oh, let's just keep using Quacking Punch. Next turn I'm gonna Plumeria, I think. OG Lax, where's info on the tournament? Limitless TCG website. Okay, I definitely KO this Staryu. That I definitely do. Okay. What got 14th? Did anyone play Greninja? Hello, Electech N9. Any Pokestats on Twitter, limitless TCG, just info isn't out yet. Okay, so my opponent goes out into the Froakie. That's fine. Okay, so let's do this first, yeah? Let's propagate. And let's Plumeria, discarding the Tirtuga and the Execute. Remove that energy, and then we choose the Staryu. We're gonna knock that out. We need to make sure we use the Tirtuga. We also have Verseeker for N to reshuffle in case my opponent gets a Shadow Stitching off. And then we Quacking Punch, we get to be on the Staryu, that's pretty good. Okay, so I feel like we have everything under control now, right? Yeah, so Limitless might not have the information. Pokestats on Twitter probably has the information. Limitless will eventually have it, but you can also follow Jimmy Pendarvis on Twitter and like find him on Twitter, and you will see his the full deck list. Yeah, that's where I got it from. Okay, so very different game against Greninja. This time we have everything under control. Oh, Limitless has it now? Okay, that's good. That is good. Okay, we get End. That's fine. My opponent will try to paralyze me. That's also fine because I have the option to draw my whole deck this coming turn, which means there's no way I don't get the Acerola, or rather the Verseeker for the Acerola. Then I'm gonna have to be super efficient with my trading and whatnot. I know my last Enhanced Hammer is in the prizes. Pokestats has most of day 2. What happens when your opponent plays Team Rocket's Jacko Eye? Well, you lose, but how many people play Team Rocket's Handiwork? Yeah, it's the same argument over and over, guys. Really. Okay, so the Plumeria is actually pretty cool. Except not really. I need the Acerola 100%, right? If my opponent paralyzes me twice though, we are definitely in trouble. Okay, I'm gonna trade the Tirtuga. Okay. So let's go ahead and do the Prehistoric Call, just to be super safe. And then we're gonna Float Stone. We are going to Verseeker for the Acerola to keep the lock going, right? We need my opponent to average, to get average flips, yeah? And then if he doesn't, do we have our Dowsing Machine still? Or is that prized that also? I honestly don't remember. So I'll Quaking Punch. Not playing Arcane, 0 out of 10. Bob Sorty, thanks so much for the follow. The Handiwork thing is kind of relevant. So yeah, it's relevant in the mirror. Amphi, it's relevant in the mirror match. But then you would play with the knowledge that they have Team Rocket's Handiwork, and therefore you play around that, right? So Dowsing is prized, okay. Dowsing is prized. So I can't Dowsing for another Acerola. If my opponent gets a head flip here, we are going to be in trouble, but he gets the tails, which is awesome. So that's perfect because we get a free turn to lose, back the Acerola. Although, well, the Guzma rather. The Guzma is probably what we need more than the Acerola. And even the Plumeria might be better. No, we only have one Acerola. We have 2 Plumerias. So Luzamine, we get that, and then we Quacking Punch, we get another prize card. So this deck is super slow and steady, wins the race, but Okay, the Gladian is here, right? The Gladian was there. I don't know if Gladian reorganizes your prizes or not. I generally don't remember. Why would my opponent attach another water to the Froakie though? That I did not understand. He should be down to 2 water energy only. Just how opponents flip double tails on hand works. That works too, right? That works too. Silent Lab, not relevant. Definitely not relevant at all. I'm not going to Team Skullgrunt. In fact, I am going to grab Team Rocket's Handiwork. I think it might be time to start targeting my opponent's deck. The Silent Lab doesn't affect the Tier 2 guy, so that's fine. And then I'll Quacking Punch. He clearly doesn't have energy, otherwise he would be using Moonlight Slash. And when he does, we will have the Team Skullgrunt ready. So I'm pretty sure we have him under a perfect lock here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we have him under a perfect lock. If he hits heads, it plays around Plumeria. I disagree because he can just reattach the energy, right? He can just he just attaches the energy. Like either you attach it to another Greninja or you keep it in your hand. You don't attach it to the Froakie. So yeah, that got us a Very Secret and a Dive Ball, not very important cards. Okay. So my opponent is simply trying to beat me by deck out. So I'm gonna Lusamine for Lusamine and Team Rocket's Handiwork. And I will Quacking Punch. We're about to win this one, yeah? It's all a matter of going through the motions. Maybe playing around Team Skullgrunt, maybe, yeah. Toad is too OP. There's another Greninja break. That's fine. My opponent is literally just passing time now. So I'm gonna trade the Tier 2 guy. And then we're gonna put it back. Okay, so I need to make sure that I don't lose to a Shadow Stitching, which would stop the Tier 2 guy from working. So that's why I need to lose for N. Or no, I don't want to do Karen because then that puts the Staryu back into my opponent's deck. Which it wouldn't be a big deal, honestly. It wouldn't be a big deal. But this is fine, right? This is fine. If he Shadow Stitched me there, I would have lost. That is true. That is true. That is in fact true. Now I have the N back. But yeah, so maybe grabbing the Team Rocket's Handiwork the previous turn was a bit greedy. I should have grabbed the N. You are correct, Jacko. I would have lost if he had done that. And a single heads. My opponent loses a Starmie. Gonna Quacking Punch, get another prize card. Is it Quacking or Quaking? Quacking, right? No, I mean Quaking. Oh, there was the Enhanced Hammer. Wait, so the Gladian wasn't there? I don't know. Do prizes get shuffled when you Gladian or not? That's what I don't know. And yeah, actually I could have used Guzma with Guru and DZ. So I actually would not have decked myself out. So yeah. Lusamine for Lusamine and Handiwork. And that's the beauty of the Tier 2, that it doesn't get shut off by Silent Lab or a Lowland Muck. I think that those are the key aspects as to why Tier 2 is actually pretty okay. So we get another prize. And we might win the next turn. Either we win next turn or in the next 2 turns. Death by 1,000 quacks. Death by 1,000 quacks. Evan says, "View, that was close. Did he top deck something that will help him?" No. Okay. Yay, we won. Oh, did he have 2 energy priced? Or does he not play? Okay, so it's just Cracking Punch and he loses. We both have 0 cards, but that's fine. Can you trade without deck? I mean, I would assume so. Can I explain how luck works? Basically, you lock them with SEISMITOAD and then you use all the wide array of supporter cards like Acerola, Kuzma, Plumeria, Team Skullgrunt, Team Rocket's Handiwork, all of those in order to lock your opponent down, to lock your opponent out of resources, yeah, like we just did. Enhanced Hammers, Counter Catcher, you just lock them and remove all their energy, and that's how you win, yeah? So okay, that was a pretty lengthy SEISMITOAD ZOROARK deck, but I feel like that game really showcased how the lock is supposed to work, and the first game against Greninja showcased how fragile the deck can be against Greninja if it doesn't get the perfect lock going. So with that said, that will be all for today's video. If you're watching on Twitch, don't go anywhere, guys. We still have the Blastoise deck that got to 4 and the Primal Groudon deck that got to 4 in action for today. And if you're watching on YouTube, those will be up tomorrow and the day after. But don't forget to leave a like, it really helps out the channel. And so don't go anywhere, guys. I will be right back in just a second.